You won't believe this story, so stick with me till the end, because when you hear what happened, your jaw will drop. Imagine being laughed at, underestimated, and ridiculed, only to rise in the most unexpected way. If you love stories that prove resilience and heart always win, make sure you like this video and hit that subscribe button, because this one is going to move you. The story begins with Daniel, a single father and a veteran who had already carried more battles inside him than most could ever imagine. He was quiet, reserved, and always carried himself with the discipline of a soldier. But life after the military had not been kind. His wife had left years ago, unable to deal with the shadows of his trauma, and he was left to raise his little daughter, Emily, on his own. He worked long hours as a janitor in a corporate building just to keep food on the table and Emily in school. Every day, people in that building overlooked him. Some even mocked him. To them, Daniel was just the tired single dad who pushed a mop and smelled faintly of disinfectant. He didn't correct them, didn't defend himself. He had learned long ago that silence was sometimes stronger than words. But Emily, oh, she was his light. She never judged him, never complained about their small apartment or second-hand clothes. To her, he was a hero. And for her, Daniel endured everything. Still, the laughter hurt. Employees in the building would chuckle when they saw him eating a packed lunch in the corner, or when he showed up to school events in his faded jeans instead of a suit. The cruelest came when the company announced its annual charity sports event. It was meant to be fun, but everyone wanted to outshine everyone else. This year, they announced an archery competition as the highlight. Daniel, overhearing during his cleaning rounds, felt his heart stir. Archery wasn't just a sport to him. It was his past. During his service, he had been a champion marksman, often training with a bow for precision and focus. He hadn't touched one in years, but his muscles remembered. His spirit remembered. When he signed up for the event, people laughed louder than ever. Really? The janitor? He probably thinks bow and arrow are toys from his daughter's cartoons. Even some managers smirked. But Daniel said nothing. He kept practicing at night, quietly, in an old field outside town with a worn-out bow he borrowed from a community club. His hands blistered, his arms ached, but he found something stirring inside him, something he hadn't felt in years: purpose, strength, and dignity. Emily sat on the grass during his practices, clapping after every shot, whispering, "You're amazing, Dad. You're going to win." The day of the competition came, and the entire company gathered on the field. Employees wore flashy sports outfits, cheering and boasting. Daniel showed up in his plain jacket, carrying nothing but quiet confidence. At first, people laughed. They whispered, "What's he doing here?" But as soon as he stepped to the line and drew the bow, the laughter stilled. His posture was flawless, his focus unshakable. The arrow flew, bullseye. Gasps filled the air. Shot after shot, Daniel didn't just compete, he dominated. Opponents who had trained for weeks fell behind. By the final round, he stood alone, his arrows piercing the target with perfect precision, like a man who had lived for this very moment. The crowd went silent, then erupted into applause. But among the clapping hands was someone unexpected, the CEO of the company, a woman named Olivia. She had been skeptical at first too, but as she watched Daniel, her perspective shifted. She saw not just a janitor, but a warrior, a father, a man who carried dignity even when the world tried to strip it away. When the competition ended and Daniel was declared the champion, Olivia approached him personally. "Daniel," she said, "you've humbled us today. Not just with your skill, but with your heart." He only nodded, quietly thanking her. But Olivia wasn't finished. In front of everyone, she announced that Daniel would no longer be pushing a mop. His leadership, discipline, and perseverance were qualities the company desperately needed. She offered him a position in training and staff development, recognizing his ability to inspire others. The very people who once laughed now applauded him. Emily ran to him, hugging his waist, her eyes sparkling with tears. "I told you, Dad. You're amazing." Daniel lifted her up, his own eyes misting, not because of the applause or the promotion, but because he knew his daughter had always believed in him, even when he struggled to believe in himself. The CEO's admiration was genuine, and though the story about her falling instantly became an office joke later, the truth was she did fall for the respect, the humility, and the strength Daniel carried. Their connection grew in time, based on respect and understanding, but that is another chapter.